You could program people to.
What are some ways that
Neuralink has.
would you like to see it move forward?
Anytime you have a new technology, people are going to try to use it in nefarious ways in order to enrich themselves. So
How would that work?
I think you can take a normal child, and I think you can make that person into a nuclear physicist.
What are your thoughts on Neuralink?
Well, Elon Musk is an amazing person. And I think Neuralink has some real potential. Obviously, it's in its infancy right now. But of course, any good thing, we always find a way to pervert it also. So we obviously are going to have to be very careful with the way that we manipulate the human brain. And it's the same thing with virtual reality and AI. Obviously, there are wonderful things that can be done with them, but anytime you have a new technology, people are going to try to use it in nefarious ways in order to enrich themselves. So we just have to be very careful.
What are some ways that you think that Neuralink could become perverted?
Militarily, you could program people to be without a conscience and to act without a conscience and to become killing machines. I think that's a real possibility.
How would that work?
You would basically be able to control their emotions and tell them what to do. And they would do it without second thoughts about it. And, they could be programmed to steal things, to do a whole bunch of things that people who are morally conscious would not do.
What are some positives?
You could create a lot of Mother Teresas. And people who would just be programmed to do good things and to always be looking out, for others. But you could also program people to become math wizards and very proficient at technical things. So, I have mixed feelings about that kind of technology. And of course, I don't think we even understand the possibilities of what we can do with things like that. A lot of it will become more apparent as it's starting to be used.
Would you like to see it move forward?
I would prefer to see us spend more time cultivating the best of people by bringing them up the right way, having the right influences in their lives, bringing church and morality back, having a revival in our system, encouraging people to prepare themselves academically, creating the can-do attitude in America as opposed to the what can you do attitude. Because I believe that the potential that exists in each human being is absolutely enormous if it's cultivated the correct way. I think anybody who has a normal brain can do almost anything. if that brain is programmed in the appropriate way.
You don't believe in limitations?
Well, there probably are some limitations, but they're nowhere near as low as we place them. And I think you can take a normal child, and I think you can make that person into a nuclear physicist. You just have to train them the right way. The brain has the capacity to do that.
Have you looked into some of the stuff that's going on with psychedelic therapy?
No, I really haven't looked into that.
As far as treating traumatic brain injuries and addictions, and you haven't looked into that?
No. I suspect there's probably some interesting things going on there, though. But all they're doing is discovering some of the capacities, the hidden capacities of the brain.
Why do you think, why are those hidden capacities coming out during, when people are undergoing a psychedelic experience?
Because during those psychedelic experiences, some of the inhibitory forces that block things from happening are removed. And you begin to see and experience things that you might otherwise not. Some of which can be quite frightening, and some of which can be very pleasant.
Do you have any thoughts on, should they move forward with researching that or
Well,
legalizing?
it doesn't really matter what I think about it. They're going to move forward. They can't resist. It's part of our, they say curiosity killed the cat. Well, we got a lot of curiosity, and we're just going to keep moving forward with all of these interventions of the human brain because it's a vast unexplored territory. It's the reason that I want to go into psychiatry and neurosurgery, because the brain is one of the last frontiers. I had toyed a little bit with the idea of becoming a cardiothoracic surgeon. And I said, we know almost everything there is to know already about the heart and the lungs. We know nothing about the brain. And as a medical student, I said, you could probably make significant contributions in neuro. It'd be hard to do that in cardiac.
Where does consciousness live?
Well, it's in the brain. It's in the human brain. It is not something that obviously we've been able to quantitate or understand completely. But it is clearly there. It's at a different level, I think, in human beings than it is in animals. And I think it's one of the mechanisms that allows us to communicate with God.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.